The maintenance bay of the intergalactic cruiser hummed with the familiar drone of recycled air and distant engine noise. Marcus wiped grease from his hands. Another 12-hour shift nearly complete. Through the transparent aluminum viewport, he could see the delegation chambers, where humanity's fate was being decided. She stood at the center of it all. Princess Vela of the Andraxian Empire commanded attention without effort. Her luminescent skin shifted through subtle shades of violet and blue, her forearms gesturing gracefully as she negotiated trade agreements that would either save Earth or condemn it to economic isolation. Marcus had seen her twice during his 3 months aboard the station. Both times, she had walked past him as if he were part of the bulkhead. He was nobody. A mechanic from Detroit who had scored high enough on the technician exams to earn a spot on a diplomatic vessel. Nothing more than a tool wielder in a universe of politicians and warriors. Marcus leaned against the viewport, exhaustion settling into his bones. The other humans aboard treated him well enough, but they were administrators, translators, people with purpose. He fixed things that broke. Useful but invisible. I wish she'd notice me, he whispered to his reflection in the glass. The words barely audible over the background hum. The temperature dropped. Marcus straightened, his breath suddenly visible in the air. The lights flickered once, then steadied into an odd crimson hue. Behind him, a presence materialized. Not walked in, materialized. He turned slowly. Princess Vela stood 3 meters away, but something was wrong. Her eyes glowed with an inner fire that hadn't been there before. Her ceremonial robes rippled despite the still air. When she spoke, her voice carried harmonics that made his teeth ache. I accept the pact. Marcus stumbled backward against the viewport. What? I don't understand. You invoked the ancient words. You called for recognition across the void between stations. The old magic still flows through certain bloodlines, including mine. Vela stepped forward, her movements too fluid, too perfect. A wish spoken in genuine loneliness, in the presence of royal blood, creates a binding. You asked to be noticed. I have noticed you. Now the pact must be fulfilled. I didn't mean anything by it. I was just talking to myself. Intent matters less than the speaking. You are human. Your species does not understand what you stumble into. Vela's 4 hands moved in complex patterns, and symbols appeared in the air between them, glowing like embers. The pact requires acknowledgement and exchange. You will be noticed. In return, you must provide a service of equal value. Marcus's mind raced. He had read about Andraxian culture during his training. They were an old race, one of the founding members of the Galactic Assembly. Their technology seemed like magic to younger species, built on principles that defied human physics. And their nobility claimed descent from beings that had shaped the cosmos itself. He had thought it was mythology. What kind of service? He managed. That will be determined by fate and circumstance. The pact binds us until the debt is satisfied. Vela's expression softened slightly, the otherworldly glow fading from her eyes. You should have been more careful with your words, mechanic. Before Marcus could respond, alarms shrieked throughout the station. Red emergency lights replaced the crimson glow. An automated voice announced a hull breach in Sector 7. His sector. Marcus ran. The corridor filled with smoke as he approached the maintenance bay. Other technicians evacuated past him, their faces masks of panic. Through the chaos, he could see the problem. A micrometeorite had punched through the outer hull, and the automated repair systems had failed to deploy. Air screamed out into space through a hole the size of his fist. If the breach wasn't sealed in the next 4 minutes, the entire sector would decompress. The diplomatic chambers were 2 sectors away, close enough that a full breach could compromise the negotiations. Marcus grabbed an emergency repair kit from the wall mount and activated his magnetic boots. The air was already thin enough to make him dizzy. He clipped a safety line to his belt and approached the breach. The hole was in an awkward position, tucked behind a coolant manifold. He would have to partially disassemble the manifold to reach it, and he had maybe 3 minutes of consciousness left before hypoxia took him. Hands gripped his shoulders. 4 hands. Vila stood beside him, somehow unaffected by the thinning atmosphere. She wore no environmental suit, yet breathed normally. Tell me what to do. You can't be here. You'll die. I am Andraxian royalty. I do not die from mere vacuum. Instruct me. Marcus's training overrode his shock. Those 3 bolts. Remove them, carefully. Vila's hands moved with impossible precision. The bolts came free in seconds, work that should have taken minutes. Marcus pulled the manifold aside and slapped a temporary seal over the breach. The screaming of escaping air cut off abruptly. He sagged against the wall, gasping. Vela caught him before he fell. The repair will hold until proper maintenance can be performed, she said. You have saved many lives today, just doing my job. Marcus's vision swam. Why did you help? You could have evacuated. The Pact. I have noticed you. That creates obligation. Vila helped him toward the emergency airlock. But also, you ran toward danger while others ran away. That is worth noticing regardless of magic or binding. The next 3 days passed in a blur. Marcus was questioned about the breach, commended for his quick response, and given a formal letter of recognition from the station commander. But stranger things happened too. Princess Vela attended his debriefing. She requested his presence at a diplomatic reception. She asked his opinion on the station's maintenance protocols during a meeting with human administrators. She noticed him. The attention was overwhelming. Other humans looked at him differently now. The princess of the Andraxian Empire had singled out a mechanic for recognition. Rumors spread. Some thought they were involved romantically. Others whispered about political maneuvering. Only Marcus knew the truth. The pact bound them together until some undefined debt was paid. On the 4th day, Vila summoned him to her private quarters. The space was vast by station standards, decorated with artifacts from a dozen worlds. She stood at a viewport, looking out at Earth, which hung like a blue marble in the distance. Your world is beautiful, she said without turning. It would be a shame to see it isolated. Marcus approached cautiously. The negotiations aren't going well. My father, the Emperor, sees humanity as too young, too aggressive. He wants to limit your expansion until you mature as a species. Vila turned to face him. I disagree. Youth brings innovation. Your people think in ways we have forgotten. What does this have to do with the Pact? Everything. Vela gestured, and holographic documents appeared in the air. I need human insight for my counter-proposal to the Emperor. Someone who understands both the technical capabilities and limitations of your species. Someone who has proven themselves capable under pressure. Marcus stared at the documents. They were trade proposals, technology exchange programs, mutual defense considerations. I'm a mechanic. I don't know anything about politics. You know more than you think. You kept this station alive. You understand what humanity can do with limited resources. Vila's expression was intense. Help me craft an argument that will convince my father. That is the service the Pact demands. For the next week, Marcus worked alongside Vila and her advisors. He explained human engineering in terms the Andraxians could understand. He highlighted innovations that had come from Earth's resource-limited development. He helped identify areas where human and Andraxian technology could complement each other. It was exhausting. It was terrifying. It was the most important thing he had ever done. When Vela presented the revised proposal to her father via quantum communication, Marcus watched from the background. The Emperor's holographic form towered over the chamber, his 8 eyes fixing on his daughter with an intensity that made Marcus want to hide. The debate lasted hours. Vela argued passionately, citing Marcus's insights, referencing the hull breach incident as proof of human capability under pressure. The Emperor challenged every point, but Vela had answers. Finally, the Emperor spoke. "You have learned something during your time among the humans, daughter. You have learned to see value in unexpected places. Very well. I will approve limited integration. But you will be held responsible for their development." Relief flooded through Marcus. Earth would not be isolated. Humanity would join the Galactic Assembly. After the transmission ended, Vela approached him. The otherworldly presence that had surrounded her during their first meeting returned. The glowing symbols appeared once more. The service is rendered. The debt is paid. The pact is fulfilled. The symbols flared bright, then faded. You are released. Marcus felt something shift, like a tension he hadn't known was there suddenly relaxing. That's it? We're done? The magical binding is complete. Vela smiled, and it was entirely her own expression now, without any supernatural overlay. But I hope we are not done, Marcus. You have proven yourself valuable beyond any pact. Stay on as a technical advisor. Help bridge the gap between our peoples. I'm just a mechanic. You are a human who saved lives, who helped save his entire species from isolation, and who taught a princess to look beyond surface appearances. Vela extended one hand in the human gesture of greeting. There is no just about that. Mar,